Hello everyone, Helljumper here, and on this video I'm going to be covering the map size differences between a 4v4 map, 3v3 map, and a 1v1 map, and how the size of the map you are playing on will affect the gameplay of the match you are playing between a 10v10, 4v4, 3v3, or a 1v1. Here is the 4v4 version of the map Shedron. Here is the 3v3 version of the map of Shedron. And lastly, here is the 1v1 version of the map Shedron. As we can see, the 1v1 version of this map is about 2/3 the size of the 3v3 version, and about half the size of the 4v4 version. So what does this mean for you? Well, it essentially means that the amount of resources that you normally spend on ensuring that you have a solid front line for a 1v1 can instead be spent on other things such as more supporting units for your front line like artillery or planes, or even spending your extra points on more tanks and having a decent concentration of armor, for example. The next thing I'll be going over is how income rates are affected by map and team game sizes. Typically, in 1v1 matches, the usual go-to income rates are Vanguard, Flatline, Balanced, and Maverick. Income rates such as Juggernaut or V for Victory are pretty much never seen being used by any veteran player of the 1v1 scene, as there is just inherently a larger focus on early gameplay with the requirement of needing that early point advantage to make a coherent front line while still being able to make an attack push of your own. With 3v3 and 4v4 games, because you only need to cover half as much ground as opposed to a 1v1, this allows the usage of much higher C-phase based incomes to include Balanced, Juggernaut, and V for Victory, without a terrible risk of being overwhelmed by an early push by the enemy team like you would in a 1v1, since you inherently have a higher concentration of units because of the map size. Now real quick, I want to stress, this does not mean that the early game-based incomes are obsolete in 3v3s or 4v4s, as a well-coordinated team using early game-based income can still crush a team using late-based income, but rather that there is now the actual viable option to use these late-game incomes. The last thing I will cover in this video is some of the things we already talked about, but with specifics to 10v10s. 10v10s are played on 4v4 maps, as there is no actual 10v10 size maps like there was in Normandy 44, at least as of the making of this video. Since 10v10s are played on 4v4 maps, Eugen has reduced the amount of income that you earn per minute to 75% of what you would normally earn in any other game mode, as well as reducing your starting income from 750 to only 500. Here are what income rates become at 75%. With the game mode with 20 players, even at a reduced income rate and starting points, there is still a much higher concentration of units than even compared to a 4v4. So, what does this mean for you? Well, essentially, the early incomes such as Vanguard, Maverick, and Flatline are obsolete, as games will always last well into the later phases. The only example of where using early based income with an expectation to win in a 10v10 is if you are part of a very well coordinated team using voice chat, for example. To quickly recap what we went over, we talked about the size of maps for different team sizes and how the gameplay is affected by the map size and team sizes. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy my content, then please like and subscribe, and have a nice day.